we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to thank you all for coming to the Mebane Arts and Community Center tonight for tonight's Hall of Fame Induction Gala. It's an honor to see all of our inductees here tonight with their friends and family, and we thank you all for joining us to support them. A couple of quick housekeeping notes for those of you that have not been here before. There are restrooms in the lobby area. There are exits on the side doors if needed. And if you did not, on your way in, stop by the front table. There's a special gift for everybody who attended tonight. So if you didn't get your commemorative coin when you got in tonight, just make sure you stop at the table before you go. But it is my honor to kick us off tonight. This is my second Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and this one was a lot smoother than the last one. Those of you that were here in 2022, we had this place looking beautiful just like this. We had a big storm the night before, and we found out we had no power. So imagine this, big setup just like this, and then moving to Hall Field's middle school cafeteria. We are very appreciative of them giving us that space, but we are so happy to be back here and to have you all joining us tonight. Tonight it's a great night to celebrate the legends that have formed our athletic community. I've had the pleasure in the last couple of weeks to get to know the inductees that I didn't know. Several I already knew from other events, but it's more than just about their athletic careers. We're here to celebrate these great people that have helped shape us all. So before we get to the final portion where we're introducing those legends, I also have the honor to introduce one more local legend. Kicking off giving the official welcome is our mayor, Ed Hooks.
What a great day to be in Mebane. Is that right? Yeah. Oh, that's right. It is a fantastic day to be in Mebane. Okay, well, maybe it's just a day. Good seeing y'all. Welcome everybody to our 2026 Mebane Sports Hall of Fame. This is a great event, and certainly a beautiful group. And a lot of old friends I've seen, not old as in age, but old, and I haven't seen in a few years. But I want to welcome everybody. This evening is especially meaningful as we recognize a significant milestone. 30 years ago, in 1996, the first Mebane Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony was held. What began as an effort to preserve and honor our community's athletic history has grown into a lasting tradition that celebrates excellence, dedication, and community pride. Since that first ceremony, Mebane has proudly inducted 39 individuals into the Hall of Fame, 5 teams in the Hall of Fame, and 14 individuals and organizations in the Hall of Honor. Tonight, we continue that tradition by welcoming 5 additional individuals in the Hall of Fame and 2 additional individuals in the Hall of Honor. The stories we celebrate tonight remind us that sports are about much more than wins and losses. They represent perseverance, teamwork, leadership, sacrifice, and a commitment to something greater than oneself. The men and women we honor this evening have left a lasting impact on our teammates, students, fans, and our community as a whole. Their accomplishments have helped shape Mebane's athletic legacy and serves as an inspiration for future generations. Before we get our program, I would like to offer a few words of appreciation. First, thank you to the Mebane Sports Hall of Fame Committee for your dedication and preserving and celebrating the athletic history of our community. Your efforts ensure that these remarkable stories, accomplishments continue and to be recognized and remembered. Angie Bartis, if you'll stand. These are committee members. Angie Bartis, Penny Butler, B.J. Chalkley, Mike Garrison, stand up, Mike. John Kirby, Monica Robinson, and John Webster. Thank y'all for everything you did. I would also like to thank the City of Mebane and the Mebane City Council. And I'd like to introduce, we have Councilman Sean Ewing here, and also Councilwoman Montrina Hadley. And I don't think I've missed anybody else. So I thank them for their continued support of this event and their commitment to recognizing the individuals and organizations that have contributed so much to the athletic heritage of our community. Their support helps ensure that these accomplishments are celebrated and preserved for future generations. I would also like to recognize the Mebane Recreation and Parks Department for the tremendous work that goes into making tonight's event possible. Let's give them a round of applause. From coordinating the program and preparing the inductions to arranging the decorations and all the special touches throughout the venue, countless hours has been spent creating an evening worthy of our Hall of Fame and Hall of Honor recipients. We appreciate your dedication to making this celebration both memorable and meaningful for all our inductees, their families, and our community. We also are honored to welcome our keynote speaker, Sylvia Crawley-Spahn. Sylvia was a member of the University of North Carolina's 1994 NCAA Women's Basketball National Championship. Right, Chip? And has continued to inspire others through their accomplishments as an athlete, coach, and mentor. Thank you for joining us this evening and for helping us celebrate this rich tradition of athletics that brings us together tonight. And also a special thanks to Southern Harvest Hospitality Group for providing tonight's meal and catering services. We are grateful for their partnership and for their outstanding work. For their entire catering team, we thank you for making this evening very special. If you enjoyed tonight's meal, I encourage you to support our local restaurant, Knucklehead Barbecue, right here in Mebane. To all the tonight's inductees, their families, friends, former teammates, coaches, supporters, congratulations and thank you for the role you have played in making Mebane a stronger and more vibrant community. Last but not least, today is John and Lisa Kirby's anniversary. He didn't pay me. Before we begin our meal and our program, let's join me in a moment of prayer, please. Gracious and loving God, we thank you for bringing us together this evening in fellowship and gratitude. We give thanks for the athletes, the coaches, the families, the volunteers, the educators, the supporters, whose commitment has helped shape the proud sports tradition of Mebane. We love Mebane. We honor those being recognized tonight and the example they have set through hard work, character, leadership, and service. May this evening remind us that success is not measured only by wins and records, but also by the lives we touch, the lessons we teach, and the community we build together. Bless all of those who gathered here, and may our time together be filled with joy, appreciation, and fellowship. We also ask your blessing upon this food. Bless the hands that prepared it, those who serve it, and all those who will receive it. May it nourish our bodies and strengthen the bonds of our friendship and community among all of us. We ask these blessings in your holy name. Amen.
Please join me in welcoming gold medalist, WNBA legend, and NCAA champion with your UNC Tar Heels, Sylvia Crawley-Spahn.
But thank you to Chris and everyone who played a part in making this a special night. Everything has been wonderful. The food was delicious. I sat at a table of the most interesting people ever. And so I also want to acknowledge my very best friend and husband, Brian Spann, for accompanying me tonight. But I just want to say how honored I am to be here. I travel a lot to do appearances, And in the last, I would say 30 days, I've traveled to the West Coast and been on 4 red-eye flights. So I can't even tell you how excited I am to travel 39 miles down the road to Mebane, North Carolina, to be with you here today. But to celebrate something so powerful, which is legacy. And so when you think about legacy, it's not just about stats, it's not just about wins, but it's about the kind of impact that echoes long after the buzzer sounds. Because that's what tonight is all about. It's about people who didn't just play the game. They changed the game for someone else. And so I've had the privilege to play at the highest levels. Chris actually summed up my bio very beautifully because it's so long, but I've had the opportunity to win a national championship for North Carolina, Chapel Hill. I've got a chance to play in the WNBA, which is something that less than 1% of people worldwide get an opportunity to do. I've had a chance to win gold medals for USA Basketball. And I've even, as you just saw, I'm the slam dunk champion, winning the first ever women's slam dunk contest blindfolded. But if I'm being real with you tonight, none of that means more than this truth. The game gave me the platform, God gave me a purpose, but he strategically used people to pave the way. And so that's what I want to talk to you about for a second, because in a community like Mebane, greatness doesn't just grow in bright lights first. No. It grows in early morning practices. It grows in gyms that don't always have pool stands. It grows with coaches who stay up late, and parents who sacrifice, and teammates who push you beyond what you thought you could do. And so greatness grows in small moments that no one claps for. And that's why tonight matters. Because the Hall of Fame says, we see you, we remember. And this is important to me right now, because in the 30th year of the WNBA, I have received more flowers. My mom said, this is your season of flowers, right? And I believe that happened to me for a reason. I was talking to my husband on the way here about it, that I was able to have that opportunity right before I came here. And now I get a chance to give other people their flowers, right? And I knew what I wanted to hear, so I said, that's exactly what I'm going to say. So I want to say to all the inductees, I really want that to sink in. We see you, we remember, and what you did here still matters. And for people who are trailblazers, or people who are doing things that maybe was not done in that way, it's often easy for people to go to the next recruit, or the next season, or the next coach, right? And you feel very forgotten. You feel as if you never existed, because the pictures and the videos, they don't exist anymore. You know, maybe they're older videos. Like, I had a hard time finding that footage right there where it's clear, you know? But it just kind of goes away, and you feel like everything that you sacrificed, everything that you went through have been forgotten. But when you have a moment like this where people say what you did still matters, that means something. So, to the inductees and honorees tonight, you are more than athletes. You are standard setters. And when I look at the class, this 2026 class, I don't just see names. I see stories that built this community. I see Coach John Kirby, a player who became a coach, and came back and poured into the same soil that raised him. And that's not just success. That is full circle leadership. I see Doug Smith, 49 years of officiating. I used to think coaching was the hardest profession until I became a coach and I had to officiate practice one day. And I literally had to kick everybody out the gym. And I now say to myself that officiating is one of the hardest professions. Why? Because no matter how accurate you are, no matter how good you are, 50% of the people in the building are going to say, "Put your glasses on, ref!" Right? They think you can't see. They think you made a bad call. So half of the people love your call because you called for their team, and the other half does not. So when I think about 49 years of officiating, that's not just time. That's love for the game that never clocked out. I see Wayne Petty, multi-sport athlete, still competing at some level, still winning in his own way. That tells me one thing: his discipline didn't stop when the season ended. It's a way of life. I also see the late Jeff Maudlin, and I think his son is here with us today. 35 years of coaching. That's not just a career. That's generations of lives shaped. That's seeds planted in soil that's still growing today. I see Dean Ray. Raise your hand, Dean. Dean, right there. Okay, you were sitting over there a little bit earlier. I see Dean Ray, 31 years of building programs, facilities, and opportunities. Let me say it like this. He didn't just build places to play. He built pathways for possibilities. And I see Terrence Caldwell. 4 decades of service and leadership. The kind of presence that leaves a mark beyond the stat sheet. Because greatness isn't always loud. Sometimes it's how you show up, it's how you compete, and it's how you represent. And that kind of impact, it sticks with people for the rest of their lives. And now, this part is personal to me. BJ Chopley. I gotta take a deep breath. To many, that name is a UNC name. But for me, it's a trailblazer. Before I ever stepped on a court at UNC, before I wore my jersey that still hangs from the rafters at Carmichael, there was BJ. And she was already doing the work, already setting the standard, and already showing what was possible. And I need to say this out loud tonight. BJ, I stand here in part because of you. Because nobody gets here alone. And BJ's heard me say this countless times. We all stand on someone else's shoulders. We all run on paths somebody else cleared. So BJ, thank you for everything that you've done, for paving the way, for setting the tone, and for being part of a legacy that reached far beyond what you probably ever imagined. Because I'm one of many people who have benefited from what you did. And that's what it's all about. Some young athlete in Mebane right now is chasing a dream. And it's possible because of all of you. So can you please give our inductees a round of applause? Now let me take you into a moment of my own journey. It's 1994, national championship game. We're down by 2. Time is running out. 0.7 of a second left on the clock. Everything is on the line. As a matter of fact, my dad said, "Oh, they lost. Let me go get the car and beat the traffic." And in that moment, it wasn't about talent anymore. It was about mindset. Do you believe? Will you execute? Can you stay locked in when everything around you and everyone around you is telling you that it's over? And here's what I learned. Because we ended up winning that championship game, and my dad had to come running back in and watch us cut the nets. But championships aren't won when everything is going right. No, championships are won when everything feels uncomfortable. Because life is going to put you through moments where the score doesn't look good, the time feels super short, and the pressure feels incredibly heavy. And in those moments, you don't rise to the occasion. I recently watched the Knicks win a world championship, and I heard countless podcasts and countless commentators talk about how they rose to the occasion because they were away. They weren't on their home court, and they talked about how the Knicks rose to the occasion. And I beg to differ. I think in championships, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall back on what was built. You fall back on what was built long before you ever step foot on that platform. You fall back on your discipline, on your mindset, on your habits, and on the things that the foundation that was built before you ever started that sport. So that's why sports matter. Because sports, they teach you how to show up when you don't feel like it. They teach you to lead when nobody told you to. They teach you to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And if I can leave you with anything tonight is this. Your athletic journey is not just about what you achieve, it's about who you become. So do we have any young athletes in the house? So to any young athletes who may actually see this playback, you may not be in the Hall of Fame yet, but you were in the process. And it is that same process and habits that build champions, build leaders, build business owners, build speakers, and build difference makers. So embrace the process. It's not going to happen overnight, but each lesson learned can be applied to your future life. In sports, there are no wasted lessons. Every single thing that you learn from sports, good or bad, wins or losses, can be applicable to life if you embrace the process. And to this community, keep showing up. Keep supporting the athletes. Keep believing in them before they believe in themselves. Because you're not building players, you're building legacy. And to the Hall of Fame inductees, one more time, tonight we celebrate you. But tomorrow, your impact keeps going. Because legacy doesn't live in trophies or plaques. They live in people. Thank you, Mebane, for letting me be a part of this special night. And remember, your best is not behind you. Your best is still coming. God bless.
Thank you, Sylvia. Let's everybody give her one more big round of applause. For those of you that don't know me, hopefully many of you do, I'm the Recreation and Parks Director, Aaron Davis, for the City of Mebane, and I'm so happy to have you all here at the MAC. We've had such a wonderful time talking, meeting, greeting, and now it's time to get into our induction portion of the ceremony tonight. Tonight is a very special evening. We're here to recognize individuals whose dedication, accomplishments, leadership, and lasting impact have earned them a permanent place in our Hall of Fame and our Hall of Honor. This is a celebration not only of achievement, but of legacy. All of these wonderful inductees will take home a plaque, just as I have next to me. You saw those that are out in the hallway. And the one that they don't take home will end up down the hallway to your left. And before you leave tonight, if you want to take a look at some of the other inductees, they're all hanging on the wall, brought to you by the City of Mebane. So I feel so honored to have the pleasure to introduce our presenters, who will then present and bring up our inductees. But from an inductee standpoint, I must say how personal this class is to me, and how I can say that throughout my career and friendships and all the things that each one of them, except for Wayne, and I'll get to him, have made a big impact on my life. Wayne, we've got that college golf thing, so that means a lot to me too. But we are going to get started. Again, thank you for being here. I'm going to get started with the Hall of Honor inductees. We'll bring up Coach John Kirby to present BJ Chalkley.
Scrawl, you did a great job. Now I got to follow up to talk about Miss Chalkley, and it's kind of hard to do what you did, and what a great honor it was to her. I'm going to read a little bio for Miss Chalkley, and then I'm going to add a little bit to it myself. But BJ Chalkley, better known as, I guess her name was Betty Jo, but we call her BJ, grew up in Conway, North Carolina, where she played basketball in Northampton High School. Of course, she was all conference for 4 years. She was most outstanding female athlete. The unique thing about this is that Northampton, small town, right, small community, but the University of North Carolina was able to find her, where she played at UNC in 73, 74, and 75. She was a defensive guard 3 years and made all-conference second team. And in 1975, and played on the women's NIT in 1975. This is an interesting comment right here, or tidbit. In 1976, she was drafted by the Tampa Bay Rowdies men's professional soccer team, where she played in 2 games. She graduated from UNC in 1976, and we all know that's where she became a physical therapist. Ms. Chalkley, I'm going to go off script here a little bit, because I think it's better that if I just kind of talk about you and what you've done. You know, Ms. Chalkley started working with the Eastern Alamance High School football team in the mid-70s after she graduated, and she's been a staple ever since. She has worked on numerous players. She keeps parents calm. She had a little signal that she would give those parents if something were wrong or you need to come home. Ms. Chalkley she found ways to provide us the medical care that we needed when sometimes at school we couldn't afford those needs. She came out of pocket a lot. The love of her life, other than her family that's sitting here with her today, was her husband, George. And Mr. Chalkley, one day she came up and she said, can we find a thing for George to do? Sure, we'd love to have him. She put him taking pictures. Bailey, he was a great one. And we got a great one in her now. But Mr. Chalkley was a big part of our program, as well as you too, Ms. Chalkley. But for 40-odd years, she roamed the sidelines, she worked in the gyms with wrestling teams, and she just made sure we were taken care of. And I think the big thing about what Ms. Chalkley did for us is, now in today's world we talk about concussions. It's the big thing. But we were doing concussion stuff years before they came out with a protocol in North Carolina, and it's because of her leadership and what she did. And I can't say enough about her. I can't say that you've meant a lot to me, Ms. Chalkley, and thank you so much for what you have done for me personally, what you've done for Eastern High School, and what you've done for our community. And this honor tonight is well deserved. I'd like to introduce you guys to Ms. BJ Chalkley.
Well,
And I was there a few years before her, but not many. 72 to 94, well, you can do the math. I started when I was 3, though, so let's get that straight. But she has always been one that we looked up to, and when they won that game, I about tore the living room apart. I mean, there was nothing better than for us to say at UNC that we had a national championship. And it was because of people like her and Sylvia Hatchell that we got there. But let me go on to what I'm supposed to be talking about, because she's a hard act to follow. Of course, Coach Kirby, we all know he can ad-lib and he can talk about anything to anybody and make it just the greatest thing since sliced bread and microwave. And I owe him as much as he thinks he owed me, because he gave me the chance to start. I actually covered in 78, which equals 45 years of coverage on the sidelines for football, and 20 years of coverage for wrestling matches and tournaments. And in this plaque, you'll see there's a guy there that I'm taking care of his injury. He's here tonight. And when we tried to pick out pictures, it was hard to figure out which one to pick. His brother actually had a better picture. His face was covered with so much blood, I could barely find where his eyes were. But we all agreed that that would not look good on this black and white picture. So I chose his brother, and he's here tonight. Thank you so much, Parker. I worked hard to improve the coverage for these teams, and especially in football with so many injuries, I increased the coverage to 8 medical licensed and first responder people on the sidelines. This had exceeded anybody's expectations for high school in the state or the nation for Thursday and Friday night coverages. And I'm very proud of what we accomplished, because we worked to implement standards, setting up procedures and protocols, working closely with Dr. Jones and Dr. Armour, and providing opportunities for medical residents to come and work with us on the sidelines and learn how to practice sports medicine when they were just a family practice doctor. It truly was a pleasure for me to serve and work with these Alamance coaches, and especially Coach Kirby with football and Coach Nate Gardner with wrestling. And Coach, this year we actually have been spearheaded this with a friend of mine in the North Carolina Physical Therapy Association, and we proposed it to the state of all of our accomplishments as physical therapists and now doctors of physical therapy, that PTs are now again approved to clear players for concussion protocols with the physicians. So that's a new step we want to see this year. I want to thank you for letting me be on the sidelines to cover teams. You know, it's kind of hard. I'm not a woman's liver, and I never really pushed that element, because I was always taught by my brother that you got to be good or else you're not going to get to play. And back then it was 6 guys that I went to high school with. 6 guys I went to from kindergarten, church, high school to Carolina. 6 guys. And it hit me a while ago. There's 6 guys on this table and me. I'm still fighting 6 guys. I don't know what to do. But if it hadn't been for my brother, I wouldn't have been what I am. Because he taught me how to play baseball, and he taught me how to play basketball. And I played with his friends. He didn't have anybody else to play with, and I didn't either. And then he was going off to high school, and he said, "You're going to be playing softball." Well, I didn't understand why I couldn't play baseball. He said, "They don't let girls play baseball." And I said, "Well, what's softball?" He said, "Look, it's big, it's a little softer, and they're going to throw it underhand." Well, it didn't take long to figure that out, because they've been throwing curveballs at me, and I had to learn how to hit it. They didn't let me play. So it's somebody like that in your life that if it weren't for him, I wouldn't have played. And actually, when I was practicing Syria and in Carmichael, he and his law school buddies were sitting up there at the rafters cheering me on, embarrassing me to death, waiting for tickets to go see Carmichael's game for the next night. So I still remember that, so I still owe you one. You know, if I look back on it, it's one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. 45 years seems like a long time, but to me it's just a nanosecond. You know, I couldn't wait to leave work, get all my stuff together, get to practice there, get to the game. It'd be at least 4:30, 5 o'clock, 3:30 if we had to go somewhere. And then I'd tape everybody up with all my buddies and everybody that I had there to help. We'd get on the field, and after we got through the game, I'd check everybody out with injuries, and I'd probably get home about 11:30 to 12:30. And I just ate that up. I loved every minute of it. I didn't love it when I got cussed out by somebody because they wanted their son to play and he had a broken leg, and I said, I'm sorry, he can't play. And then a coach that would say, well, it's just a sprained ankle. I played with 2 sprained ankles and a broken arm when I played. Well, you probably did, but he can't play tonight. We got to have him for next week. So I went through a lot of things to get to where I was because I had to get everybody's trust into me. And then once I had them, I knew I had them. They were in the palm of my hand. And when I told Coach, we're going to have to do this, he believed. And everybody else believed. And it just kept snowballing and getting better and better. If I could have scored a touchdown, I thought about that many times. If I could have made an interception, if I could have won the state championship ring, we never did get that, but I hope we do get that soon. If I could have pinned somebody on the mat to win the match, what a thrill that would have been. And now look, Parker, they still have now wrestling for women, for girls in high school, but now they've got their own team. Shut the front door. I mean, gosh. But I loved every win that we had. I consoled every broken heart, whether we lost or whether they got hurt and couldn't go back in. And I'm still there for them. Some of them are still calling me from college. Some of the parents I have treated, the coaches I have treated numerous times. I even had to take them up sometime before they went to the ball game. But they were there for me during hard times when George died, his brothers. I'll never forget, I wanted to go that next Friday night, and nobody would let me go, and I knew I couldn't. But they were playing Williams, and I kept waiting to hear the score. And I kept looking at my phone and waiting to hear the score. And finally, I got on and sent somebody a real nasty text that said, somebody better come tell me what the score is, or I'm coming to Williams myself. And they finally all started texting me all the scores, which we did win that night, by the way. But they were the most important people to me during that time. They held me up on Thursday night and Friday night and gave me another purpose to see what I was supposed to be doing. So George was up there taking pictures somewhere, but I was still down there doing what I was supposed to do. To the countless and thousand coaches and athletes and parents, I thank you for letting me help you and your kids on and off the field. If I had a nickel for every one that I advised over the telephone, and that was in the middle of meals, Zach can tell you, it would be sometimes when we would be in the car traveling somewhere. It would be when me and my friends are playing golf. You never knew when the phone would ring and there would be somebody wanting to know what to do. And I would stop and tell them exactly how to take care of it and what to do. You know, I could retire 10 years ago if I'd gotten paid for that. Because it's just what I love to do. And I didn't turn any of them away. I helped every single one of them. Even when the referee, coach, you remember this, got bowled over on the 8-yard line, and me and Dr. Jones started blitzing over there to him. His earphones were kind of cockeyed, his glasses were over this way, and he was upside down, and he said, is everything okay? I said, well, not really, but do you know where you are? And he said, no. And he broke his collarbone, so Dr. Jones and I actually got him off, and she said, if you'll take care of this, I'll take him to the hospital. That's what we did. We worked as a team with the coaches, and we told the coaches and parents before the year started and at the end of the year, we are one. We're a team on this. It's not I, it's not you, it's not me. We have to do this together. If we're ever going to win, we've got to do this together and believe in each other, and that's what we kept trying to do. I took braces to kids. I took tape every year. I bought, I can't tell you how much, but I bought a lot of boxes of tape and a lot of braces for kids that had no money to buy braces. But if it weren't for that, they wouldn't be able to play. So that was very important to me. And by the way, somebody asked me tonight, the bag that I would go with, there's a big heavy bag that we pull onto the field. It weighed 55 pounds, full of everything but the kitchen sink. And if you saw me, I was on there on the sidelines with a waist bag, and it weighed 12.5 pounds. And I wore that every single game, every single match. And one referee came and said, what is in that bag? And I said, I don't know, but it sure is damn heavy. I just never told him what was in it. My love and thanks goes first and foremost to my family, to Zach, who's here tonight, to George, who's listening, to Josh, who couldn't make it tonight, Thank you for putting up with me and tolerating the countless late nights for me working for cared injured athletes, going to the hospital or riding the rescue squad with them. And it was the hardest thing of all to care for your own sons when they were injured playing football and wrestling. I'm so glad I was there treating our sons when both were injured so many times that I just thought, gosh, maybe it'll hurry up and stop and they'll be healed up and we won't have to do this again. But it's hard to cover anybody's parent, anybody's kids when they're hurt. But it's especially doubly hard when you've got to take care of your own kids with broken legs and a broken thumb. And I can't tell you how many injuries. It's another book. That's what it is. It's a book of how to write. I need to do this. I told myself I'm going to do this. Write a book on all your experiences, funny experiences treating patients. Some I can't really say, but they were very, very many, very funny episodes. But the other side of the book, if you turn it the other way and upside down, it's how to work and be a successful orthopedic, sports medicine, physical therapist and treat all your family and friends at the same time. Now that's pretty interesting. But I was glad to treat our sons, and they knew that they could come to me anytime. Although they would tell people, people would say, "You're really lucky you have your mom to take care of you." And they said, "If you only knew." I mean, I made them do some things that they didn't think they'd ever have to do, and they probably never done the rest of their life. But they got back playing, didn't you, Zach? Got back playing, didn't you, Parker? It was hard to cover these athletes, but I made them do it because you have to believe, as Sylvia said, you have to want to win. You have to want to work. You have to want to play, no matter what it is you do. So thank you, Josh and Zach, for supporting me during all those years and making me look good, because both of y'all are perfectionists just like me. To my best friends, some of which are not here, my All-American couldn't make it. My best friend in Florida couldn't be here. But I have a table of friends over here that I applaud you for listening to me through the countless scenarios that made no sense at all, but for celebrating with me when we won or consoling me when we lost. Your endless friendship is worth more than any gold in the world. And I'm so blessed to have the closest friend who I play golf with and who I travel with to be here tonight with me. I love you all, and I can't wait to go on trips. And I hope when I get back playing, y'all don't beat me too bad these first few times. To all my other friends and colleagues, thank you for your assistance and support and respect. It's greatly appreciated, and I'll never forget you, and you know who you are. And lastly, to my soulmate, George. Thanks for supporting me, George. I would give anything if you were here tonight to celebrate the moment. It's hard to walk away from something you have truly loved to do, but it's even harder to do it when you're by yourself. It's hard to type this up and to read about it and to say it to yourself. But I know I did it with purpose, and you were there with me every step of the way. So thank you, everyone, for supporting me and being with me through this journey. 45 years was nothing. It was just a blink. And now I stepped away. Coach Kirby and I had a pact. We were going to retire at the same time. We did. I did. And he did, in all fairness, asked me to come back. And I said, if I went back, my family would disown me because they don't believe I'm retiring from it in the first place. But I applaud him, and I told him, and I still do tell him, he's got a great, capable crew that are helping him. And I told them, all of them, I'll come back and help you at any time you need me. I just can't stay. So when you look at this, it means so much to me to get this. It's not just about a plaque. It's not just about a ring or a trophy or a circle. It's about getting a reward to something you know you truly deserve, but you never would let anybody know that you thought that. And that's a true sign of somebody that has greatness and has purpose. It's going out there when it was 2 degrees in Halifax and staying out there for 4 hours on a football field. That's what it was sometimes. And giving my coat to somebody that didn't have a coat that was on the sideline. Thank goodness I had 3 layers other than that, but I did give her my coat. So in closing, I will tell you, these kids, the last year when George died, I told them we had some miraculous things that happened that year. And Coach can tell you, I don't know how and what made these things happen, but in the last few minutes, the ball would bounce some weird way and we'd get it and we scored. And then the guy would be running with the ball and he'd fall down and slip, and there'd be the fumble, and we'd pick it up and score. It was some unbelievable thing. So we started saying, it's got to be George, the 12th man. So we called him the 12th man. And to this day, I really think he was out there doing something. Can't believe he tripped that poor kid when he landed in the mud. He must have done something because we just couldn't explain it. But he was there the whole time. You know, there's a saying that said life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning how to dance in the rain. And that's a pretty powerful statement. I've not danced in the rain, but I think I'll try it one of these days. But for me, I told the kids whenever they got hurt, I would say, you know what? You've got to remember this. I always used to tell myself, just hang in there, never give up. And I told our kids, always do something 3 times. Go over it 3 different ways. And do 3 different things. And if you can do that on all those entities, you will be great one day. Somebody will see you and you will rise to greatness. So when I tell these kids that, they look at me kind of like the deer in the headlight look. But I would always leave them and say, look, you're going to learn more from your losses. Things at work happen that you just can't explain. And you don't know why these things happen, but they did. And you're going to learn more from them and your losses in a ball game than you ever do when you win something. You'll forget the wins. You'll remember how you went 14-0 or 21-2 or whatever. But you'll never forget that loss because something messed up and we could have done better. Thank you for this great honor. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all of y'all's help.
All right, next up, I want to welcome to the stage Dr. Anne Marie Raleigh Caldwell to present Chief Caldwell.
Good evening. Go Tar Heels. I have the esteemed honor of introducing my husband, Chief Terrence E. Caldwell. I want to make sure I get everything, so I'm going to read, if that's okay. Terrence Caldwell served as the Chief of Police for the City of Mebane for 17 years. He was sworn in as Chief of Police in September 2006. Chief Caldwell is a native of Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I knew I did good with choosing it. Tar Heel at heart. After graduating from Chapel Hill High School, he entered the United States Army, where he served as military police, specializing in weapons and tactics, or better known as SWAT. He completed the Army's non-commissioned officers leadership program at Fort Campbell in Kentucky. He served an additional 2 years in the Army Reserves. Chief Caldwell is a graduate of numerous leadership and management courses, including the Law Enforcement Executive Program at North Carolina State University. I try to not really hold that against him. He earned his associate degree from Alamance Community College in criminal justice. He earned his bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Western Carolina University. He is a member of the International Association of Chiefs of Police, the North Carolina Chiefs of Police Association, and the Alamance County Executive Association. Chief Caldwell retired in August 2023. I'm still working, y'all. That's kind of painful, but I mean, I guess after 39 years, he deserved to sit down. So he protected and served a total of 39 years, 17 of which he served as the police chief of this great city of Mebane. Governor Roy Cooper recognized Chief Caldwell's service at the state of North Carolina's highest level, bestowing upon him the Order of the Longleaf Pine, which is an honor that they bestow upon those that have had significant contributions in the state for their communities through their exemplary service and exceptional accomplishment. For his athletic, he graduated from Chapel Hill High School in 1984, where he led the varsity basketball team. He was the assist leaders and the most outstanding player. In 1986, while serving in the United States Army, he led the team to the national quarterfinals. From 92 to 99, he was the assistant coach at Guy B. Phillips Middle School in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And from 2013 to roughly 2019, he served as the basketball and softball coach with the Mebane Parks and Recreation. Today, he is super proud when he sees athletes that he's trained and mentored and coached coming back, letting him know that what he instilled in them really helped them. I think I've never seen him outside of when our daughter was born smile harder than he did when Southeast High School won the 2025 state basketball championship. He really loves teaching, he loves guiding. That's what he was built to do. He coached Hayden and affectionately gave her the name of P. Dave, which we still call her to this day. So he is a great man, a leader, community servant, has protected and served officially, and now he protects and serves unofficially. So next you have Chief Terrence E. Caldwell.
Well, good evening. Good evening, and thank you. Thank you. Today has been kind of off for me, believe it or not. I don't know if you all noticed that when we started the program that my table was empty. The Caldwell family, my dad lost and funeralized his last living brother today up in Pocono Summit, Pennsylvania. So the Caldwell side of the family had to take off and travel up there to funeralize my uncle. But I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the in-law side, the Riley side, and those close to the Riley family. That's kind of been the story of our marriage, so to speak, is that when one has not been there, the other always is there to stand in. And that's kind of what community is about. That's kind of what brings us all together today. I won't take but a few minutes of your time in acknowledging, because I believe that the work that the other inductees have done, and yeah, I guess I'm included in that number as well. As Ms. Chalkley said, it's hard to fathom yourself being a part of this program. I kind of still feel like I'm just a guest here and watching all the other honorees be acknowledged. I will tell you all, though, that I do have a little bit of jealousy in me in that, you know, they're Hall of Honor and Hall of Fame inductees today. And one of the Hall of Fame recipients is Coach John Kirby over there. And so, ironically enough, there was a flag put on my table. I'm sure that's to identify, you know, my presence here. But Coach Kirby, I want you to know, come August, September, if I show up on that Eastern football field, this flag's gonna be coming at you, brother, okay? No, I say that very jokingly. I have a great relationship with Coach Kirby, and I'll tell you, he along with the other inductees are just great people. I am truly honored and privileged to be present today. I wish I could take the time to thank everybody that led to me being in this position today, but I'll just journalize it and say thank you all as I look across the field. I've got three things I want to speak to: sacrifice, community, and family. Sacrifice, community, and family. And stick with me a second in that particular order, because what we've all done sure has required great sacrifice. But I'm sure there's not one inductee here today that looks at it that way. I myself look at it as just going about my daily business, whether it was chiefing, whether it was coaching, whether it was mentoring, whether it was training. whether it was just community engagement, I never thought about it as the sacrifice that I was given to the Mebane community and the surrounding areas during this time. Not once did I think I was sacrificing anything. It's just what I went and did. Secondarily, the community aspect of it. I've never known anything different from growing up in the streets of Chapel Hill to serving almost 40 years in the Alamance County, Mebane community area. It's just one of those things that you go through, and if you're passionate, if you love what you're doing, you don't think about it. You just don't think about it. And lastly, I want to speak to family. Because what you don't realize until it's all said and done is that you have a circle. You have a family that's played second fiddle to everything you've done. Coach Chocolate talked about it. Those late nights, right? Those times of going to the gym, those community events. And you just get to the point where you take for granted that your family is A-okay with you doing it all. And then you say, you know what, I'm gonna get to this point, I'm going to stop. Because I need to spend more time at home. Need to spend more time with my family. And then you take on the next endeavor, and the next endeavor, and the next endeavor. And before you know it, the years have passed where you've given 80% to your community. You've sacrificed 80% to your community and 20% to your family. So I want to take the time just to say, first to my wife, thank you, because your sacrifice has been greater than my sacrifice. Secondly, I want to thank my daughter, Taryn, who could not be here tonight. She's at a conference in Greensboro. My wife is too. She came home with this. So to my daughter, Taryn. And if Taryn were sitting out here, I would give her special thanks. Because all those years of coaching and teaching and mentoring and having those side conversations with the other kids, not once did my daughter complain about not having her daddy time. When we came to this gym and we worked, not once did my daughter say, well, Dad, you stayed over in this corner working with Peyton for 10 minutes and I didn't get any time. When we did workouts, when Aaron was gracious enough to give me access to the old rec, as we call it. I don't know what's over there. Is it still active over there, Aaron? AD? It was always a group of kids. It was always talking, teaching, mentoring. It's what I do, it's what we did. But my family, my wife, my daughter, always graciously took a back seat to everything that I did. But right now, we're grateful. We're thankful. I'm appreciative of having the opportunity to have served, and not just served in a police officer's uniform, to have served community in the coaching, training, mentoring role. Thankful for the opportunity, Mr. Webster, Angie, Doug, you guys, the whole current and past officiating crew. Now I'm gonna tell y'all real quick and I'm gonna get out of here. Angie Barks came in. Where you at, Angie? Angie, you remember that conversation we had at the PD about 20 years ago?
Told me I was an idiot.
I told Angie, well, I always did speak the truth. Angie knows I love her. Angie knows we go back long before our PD days when I was a patrol officer, actually. We go back. But Angie came to me, Mr. Webster. I don't know if I shared this story with you, and He said, Terry, you ever thought about being a football official? And I told Angie, I said, a football official? Who in the world want to do something stupid like that, man? I said, no, y'all out there in October, November, it's cold, rainy, snowing. I don't want to get out on that football field. I just thought about officiating basketball at the time. I said, no, man, I'm good. I think I'm going to go to the gym, stay in the gym, do a little officiating basketball, so on and so forth. Now, Angie told me way back then, he said, Terry, he said, you get into football now. Before I retire, you'll be in the ACC calling games. I was like, that doesn't even sound inviting me, Angie. No thanks, keep your football, so on and so forth. But I want you guys to know, Angie, Doug, Mr. Webster, that I finally took to the football field, as you guys know, and I've been doing it for 3 years now. And there is no greater love than to be able to get out on that football field with a group of young kids and be able to stand next to these linebackers, to these linemen, and ask them in the middle of a football game, how'd your day go today? What you eat for dinner after the game? And to see those young men later on have conversation with them later on, they say, you know what? Man, that was, I could have called a shitty game, to be honest with you. But those young men gravitated towards me, and the conversation, the interaction, and the respect that's developed out on that football field is invaluable. But that's just a small microcosm of being able to officiate, being able to interact, not just as an official, but with the community as a general, because you don't know the impact that you've had on any group of individuals until you have walked away from them. To Mebane, to the community, to the Parks and Rec Department, to the committee, and the recommendation that was made, I again say thank you, and I'm grateful to be a part of Mebane and the community. Thank you.
So one last thing about Chief Caldwell, and I've said this numerous times since becoming Recreation and Parks Director. I know Dean Ray would echo this statement, but never in my career have I worked with a better police force on special events, programs, calling them to the gym when we need them, which doesn't happen that often anymore. But Chief Caldwell, thank you for all your support over the years. The events that take place in Mebane go so well. Mebane shows up, and your support and leadership has been instrumental in that. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get into our Hall of Fame now. Our first inductee is Wayne Petty, and presenting Wayne this evening is Andy Wade.
It's my honor and pleasure to introduce Wayne Petty for this gathering. If you look at the program that was passed out, Wayne is an accomplished athlete. 3-sport letterman in high school, captain of the golf team. His biggest accomplishment in high school was he met his wife, Diane Mebane. She helped him through life as no one else has. In college, Wayne was the captain of the golf team. They won the Southern Conference tournament 2 years, and Wayne won an individual tournament. After college, Wayne and Diane got married, had a son who was also an Eagle Scout. and they helped him in a restaurant in Wilmington. If you ever get the chance to eat at, you need to. Cast Iron Kitchen. After college, Wayne became an accomplished golfer in Alamance County. He won the Southwick tournament 7 times, 5 times as an Alamance County amateur champion, 2 times as a Brookwood champion. And if any of you out here who are friends with Wayne ever had the chance to play with him in a golf tournament, it's a good chance you won that member guest or that member. Not only did he win individual tournaments, but he won accomplishment of member guest, club championships, 2-man tournaments, any type of golf that you could have. Wayne had a desire for golf and the game to be played well. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Wayne Petty.
Wow, what a night. Thank you everybody for coming. And thank you and Johnny for nominating me. I don't know what y'all thought about, but and the committee, it means a lot. Got to thank God for giving me this opportunity in life. I've been lucky. We all have been lucky. And thank you, staff, and you and the staff. What a hell of what a job. Congratulations to the other inductees. I know some of them, and you guys are special. And I'm just not. I know you're as proud as I am. Jeff, congratulations to you. I know you're sad not to be here tonight, but damn, you got the best seat in the house, buddy. As Wayne and Garth said in Wayne's World, I'm not worthy of this crowd. I didn't know about who was in the Hall of Fame here in Mebane. And I had to check it out, because I had to figure out why in the world was Wayne Petty going to be in a Hall of Fame. Maybe for other stuff, but not what this is. I came over one day, went down the hall, and my life had been put together somehow. God put something together, and my life has been touched by so many people. And it's a miracle. I don't know. One of my miracles. My mom at birth, the cord was around my neck. She had to lay still for 24 hours. Evidently, you can tell I'm here. Luckily, thank God. After that, I was. The doctor said that I'd have to be wearing braces, never run, never play sports. At age 5, I'm the Forrest Gump. I was out without it, and it's just I'm lucky there. In 1959, at age 8, I'm an only child. My dad came down with Parkinson's. I'm 8 years old. We had a 40-acre farm. I had cows. I had dogs. I had the farm. And he couldn't do it. So I became man of the house at 8 years old. It made me tough. It made me strong. My parents were there for me. And my mom, she really believed in spare the rod and spoil the child. And there was no way Wayne Petty was going to be spoiled from Wayne, because she believed that. And trust me, I wasn't. From 1959 and on, at 8 years old, I took care of my dad. I'd help him get in bed at night. I'd get him up during the night and help him to the bathroom and get him back into bed. My mom worked 3rd shift. Excuse me, I'm just overwhelmed. She worked 3rd shift in a mill, and but I got him back up and down, and never thought a thing, because I thought that's my life. I'd get up, make my breakfast, go to school. And I was a good student, as most of my friends know. No, I was wrong. And every night my dad would get up. When we'd get up, he'd say, "Son, this is not what I had planned for you." And I just came and say, "Dad, that's the first commandment. I'm honored to do this. Honor their mother and father." And I did that until I went to ASU and in college. Miracles. When I came here and looked, I saw names of people. I was like, I can't even hold a candle to these people. Coach Brady, he took a chance with me in high school. I never played organized football. And he said, "John Wayne, you ain't gonna do it." And I said, "Give me a chance. I know I can." He put me on the team my junior year, and I was a bench rider, but I got in some games. My senior year, fortunate enough to be all-conference center, but he took a chance on a board that was nothing. Coach Mickey Walker, he was my golf coach. He knew about me. I started playing golf at age 16 and cut greens and holes in my pasture. And I hit balls and I hit balls and I hit balls. And I learned to play. And then you got Mr. C.J. Shake Harris. Mr. Harris was an influence on me. Coach Walker told him about my story, not having anything. And Mr. Harris said, "Petty, get in my office. I got to talk to you." I went, "What the hell did I do?" But I went in there and he said, "Son, I've heard about you. I know you can do this." He said, you got talent, and you just got to do it." And he said, "What I'm going to do for you is let you change cups and mow greens on Saturdays and Sunday mornings, and I'm going to let you play free until you get out of college." Then I thought, "Oh my gracious, how much money am I going to save?" And then I looked, and there's Miss Penny Butler. She was in here. She worked at Arrowhead, and I got to play golf with her. She'd just walk out and she said, "Come on, Wayne, let's play." And damn, she beat me. I think she could probably still beat me now, but she was great. And these are people that I've got to learn, them know. Ralph Johnson, when he and Sonny Wright and I bought Arrowhead, I came in from college one day and one Friday because I was going to play with the boys. They kind of like to play for some money. And so I came in and I went up to the Nard assistant, said, "Petty, what are you doing here?" I said, "I'm here for the weekend." And Ralph said, I said, "Mr. Johnson, I'm Wayne Petty." He said, "I know who you are. Go to my office." I thought, man, what have I done now? I ain't even met the man. But went in there and he said, "Well, Sonny and I are buying this place." And we found out that there was a codicil to this thing that we didn't know about. And Shake sprung it on us on the last day. He said, "You come with Airhead." I said, "I come with Airhead." He said, Shake said, "You had to play free until you got out of college." And Ralph let me do that. Ralph taught me stuff and he would work with me and we played. Again, my life has been a miracle. It's just been something. At ASU, my freshman year, I was stupid and didn't know that Appalachian, the golf team, they did tryouts in the fall. So I was going to get figured in the spring. Well, I was up there and I was going to class, and every time I'd come back by this field, there was this guy hitting balls. And I thought, well, man, if he can do it, I'm going to bring my clubs up. So the next week I went home and came back on a shag bag and clubs. And I saw him out there after I was coming back. It was probably dark, but coming back to class. And he was out there hitting balls. And I walked up and said, "Can I hit with you?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm going to try out for the golf team." And he said, "No, you can't. They've already done it." And I said, "How you know?" He said, "I'm on it." I said, "Dadgum, you must be good." And he is. He's sitting right there. And Then the other one that I met with he told me how to get in touch with the coach. I went and told the coach that he ought to let me try because I was going to make the team. And but he didn't. He said, come back next year, maybe you can make it. I said, I will remember this name, Wayne Petty. I finished 4th in qualifying. And then I got to meet Mr. Randy Bean. Those two boys, like I said, only child. They were my brothers. If I could be half the man that you two boys are, I'd be happy. Y'all really touched my life, both of you. I love you. I love you. Love you to death. Thank you for coming. Coach Hoover, my golf coach in college, he took a liking to me. He didn't have any boys, and I guess I stayed in his office quite regular because I would come up there and go through, but while I was going to some classes. And I was captain for 2 years, and he knew I could take charge and be in charge of the boys and keep them out of trouble. But he was wrong there. But we did good. We won the Southern Conference my sophomore year, which was my first sophomore year, because I was on a red shirt since I didn't play my freshman year. But Randy was tied for the medalist with one of our other teammates, and I knew he couldn't beat him because this boy was good. But Randy, they played the playoff. We won the Southern Conference. We had the opportunity to win the Southern Conference another time with my boy Dow. I finished second, and my roommate, he finished first, and we had a time. My path has crossed some other people. You may know the name Mr. Clifford Roberts from the Augusta at Masters. I worked at Grandfather Mountain summer caddying, and he came driving up one day, and I told my roommate when we went out, I said, that's Mr. Roberts. He said, Betty used to. I said, well, I know that, bud. And I went over, I said, Mr. Roberts. He said, yeah. I said, I'm Wayne Petty. I said, I just want to shake your hand. He said, well, Wayne, good to see you. He said, Bob's told me about you. Mr. Kalecki, Bob Kalecki, was a pro at Augusta and Grandfather, and so that worked out. And Mr. Roberts was quite old at the time, and one day Bob said, Petty, get your mask. Mr. Roberts wants to play with you. I don't know why. I said, cause I'm special. And he just laughed, and he said, no, you ain't, but we went out. Grandfather's hard course from the very back tees. Bob and I played because he wanted to gamble, so I figured I could too. Par 5, first hole, knocked it on two putted, birdie. Happened to birdie the second hole. Birdie the third hole. Birdie the fourth hole. And then finally made a par on 5. And then par 5, 6, knocked it on two putted and made birdie. 5 under through 6 holes. I'm like, wait a minute. And so then it started getting a little cloudy, and up in the mountains, as you know, the rains will come in. On 7, knocked it on birdie. The bottom fell out. You would have thought it was Caddyshack. I said, the rough stuff ain't come in yet, the guys. And Bob said, Petty, Mr. Roberts got to go in. I said, huh? So we went in, and Mr. Roberts came up to me after we got in. So I was 6 under through 7 holes. And he said, Wayne, that's one of the best rounds I've ever seen in my life. Bobby would be happy. I said, Bobby? He said, Bobby Jones, I'm sure he was watching you today. He may have made it right. So I didn't get a chance, but he said, I hope to see you at Augusta. I said, you gonna give me some tickets, I guess. But I never got to go. I had an opportunity, didn't have the money to go. A couple more friends that are here tonight that really touched me, and this is one of God's miracles. Tony Smith, Dougie Smith, Craig Robinson, Gene Williams, and Brian Robertson. Billy, I know you're looking down on us tonight too, buddy. These boys followed me in some tournaments, and I've happened to win one. And the next week, I get a card in the mail, and I said, well, who is it? What is this? It's my birthday. And opened it up, and lo and behold, God's miracle, them boys mailed me excuse me while I don't, yeah. They mailed me a congratulations note, and that really surprised me because they went to Grant. So I didn't know that they knew where the post office was or even how to get a stamp, but they did. And they put the name Steady on me as my nickname, and it stuck. And it is my nickname. I got it tattooed on my arm, right there with a Titus golf ball. But boys, I love you. Y'all know I do. And thank you so much for being here. Y'all mean so much to me. A couple more boys that came, Randy and Mike Rochelli, partners. We had Scott Larson, pro from Wilson. Nobody wanted no part of us in anywhere. We were pretty good competitors, and I thank y'all for coming. I want to thank the other people in my group that came. Y'all all mean so much to me. Diane and I love y'all so much. We both, Diane and I, well, my wife, we're only children, and they are our brothers and sisters. My son couldn't make it tonight. Josh, he owns a restaurant in Wilmington, Cast Iron Kitchen, and he had somebody to quit, and it took him, he just couldn't make it. I tried to teach him golf. I had him playing at 3 years old. He did good. And his senior year at Williams, they won the state championship. He played good. He and I played together. We almost won the national father-son the first year. We finished second. We won a lot of local things, but he did good. I tried to do my best to show him what golf is about and how it made you a man. If you did what you're supposed to do. It's the only game, like I said in Bagger Vance, you can call a penalty on yourself. You've got to know how to be honest. And if you're not going to be anything. Honesty. In 1966, the biggest miracle of my life happened. God gave me the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen, and she's still that way today. How God convinced this beautiful girl, smart as a whip, convinced her to ask me out, a bashful, awkward, shy country boy from Hopedale. It didn't make sense, but she did. Fast forward to today, 60 years we've been together. Diane, without you, my life would be not the same. You have truly made it, was the greatest miracle of all. Thank you. You have given me all you have. Thank you for being the net when I fall. Thank you for making my life an absolute ball. Thank you for making me the man I am today. Without you, I would be nothing at all. I know myself better than anybody else. I know I would. In closing, life's short. Even in the longest days we face. But they too will pass. Because today's a gift. And give it your all. Because tomorrow is just a promise. Don't worry about what others say and think about what you do. Live the life you love and love the life you live. That's what I've tried to do that in my life, and damn if it ain't worked. I want to thank you all for coming and indulging me in this talk. It means so much. Thank you all. God bless. And happy Father's Day to the dads.
Some wonderful stories there. For those golfers in the room, and I will say this to Wayne's wife as well, it takes a special person to sit through a golfer's shot-by-shot description of the round, as I've done with my wife time and time again, and I get about to hole 3, and she's like, yeah, that's enough of this. All right, next up, we have Doug Smith. Unfortunately, his son Clay was unable to be here tonight, but Clay was kind enough to film a video which we'll play before we bring Doug up to the stage.
Good evening and congratulations to the Mebane Sports Hall of Fame class of 2026, especially Doug Smith, more affectionately known as Dad or Pop Pop, even Sleeves to some. We're sorry we can't be there tonight, celebrate with you, we're out of the country. We really appreciate the city's invitation to share some comments in this way. Dad, you're really known for humility, professionalism, connection, kindness, both on the field and off. Build relationships with fellow officials, players, and even the occasional coach that couldn't always think that you were a moron for making that objective football call that didn't go his team's way. But again, I think about those relationships, and really that's what transcends such an impressive career into those lifelong friendships. The accolades are certainly there, multiple playoff games, culminating with the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. That's a trip that I'll never forget. But your ability to build and maintain those relationships with men across the country is really what has taught me so much. On behalf of Jordan, myself, the boys, as well as half a dozen of my friends that got to tag along, experience football stadiums across the country on college campuses at Miami, Clemson, Boston College, and so many more. Those are memories that'll last a lifetime. Can't thank you enough, Dad, for setting such a credible example of love, hard work, and simply doing the right thing for the right reason over the last several decades of being an awesome official and an awesome dad. We love you. We're so proud of you. We'll see you soon. And congratulations again to the Hall of Fame class of 2026.
We love you, Papa.
Like Wayne says, ooh, man, that's the first time I'd seen that. They did that. Me being the smart guy I am, and I was notified of this back in February, but I gave the wrong date. We had planned a trip to Iceland with two little dudes. I got the dog. They're there for a week, left last night, flew here tonight. They've already sent some pictures and things, and wouldn't have known anything about it, but I was talking to Jay Cook, and Jay said, hey, what's the date of that? And I was like, it's May 20th. He was like, Cook being Cook, NBA and all that stuff. Cook's like, May 20th is a Wednesday, man. It's not going to be on a Wednesday. So I looked at the calendar, I was like, it's June the 20th. So then I called Clay, and I was like, hey, whoops, it's June the 20th. He's like, silence, and he's like, Dad, we've built a trip, we're flying to Iceland. So I told him, we've gone round and round about this, and I said, man, trade a week in Iceland with your wife, 2 boys. Can't trade that off for, having 3 hours here tonight. We've had some great times, hit some good ball games. I've always enjoyed having them with me. Out of that was impromptu, whatever you call that. But anyhow, so I want to say good evening and thank you to the city staff, all the departments, especially Aaron and the recreation guys, Chris, all your folks that make this an enjoyable event for everyone. Thank you to those who made an effort to come and support me tonight. I know some cut a vacation short. A couple of them have come over an hour away. Put aside family time. And it means a lot. See some old football teammates here. As I said, Clay, Jordan, Owen, and Cameron on a flight last night to Iceland. They're there a week exploring, and it's just, just a whole, it just can't put into words how excited I am for them to do that. And that's what I kept trying to tell them. I'm like, man, I hadn't hardly been to Pleasant Grove. Y'all are going to Iceland, you know, just, let's put this whole thing in perspective. So, actually, we used to travel in ball games, and when I first started, when I got to ACC, it was having to fly and get to Atlanta and get on the little rail and go here and do there. But I always felt better when I had Clay and some of the college guys with me, because they knew how to manage to do all of those little situations. I was lost. But I just, you know, just the time of having him with me and spending that time with them, and just a lot of great memories. And as Wayne said, walking down that hallway and you look and it's a virtual who's who of longtime Mebane folks, athletes, coaches, some did both. Coach Joe's on there, Coach Joe's dad's on there. I relayed a message with him this week that I was in the 8th grade, and before I could start working at Lawrence Drove store in the 9th grade, you had to have a worker's permit, so you had to be 15. 2 summers, lived on Wilbur Road. Mr. Thomas Joe, Coach's dad, would pick me up every Wednesday afternoon. 1 o'clock, Tyson Malone would close. I'd be standing up there, he'd pick me up. About the Forest Lake, I'd get on a riding lawnmower. He'd pay me $10 to mow that yard. And he pushed, and I made $10. This was like 1960-something, guys, so I was filthy rich. You know, I mean, I couldn't spend that $10. Next year, he gave me 15. And it was just the fact of he and I, we'd mow, get through, drink Coke, eat a pack of naps, just hang out, talk a little ball. I just having that relationship with him on those times was just very, very special. I grew up right down here on 3rd Street in the 500 block, and we would walk to the ballpark. I was on 2nd Street during the summers and play baseball. It was open from 9 to 12 and 1 to 4. Practiced 2 days a week, played 2 days a week. Coaches from the Mebane High School and them were our team coaches, and I mean, they were way better than Billy Martin as far as we were concerned. I mean, you know, they were our MLB guys, but just a lot of fun growing up and being able to play over there. Started playing a little bit of football in the fall for Andy Wade's dad, Mr. Jack Wade, over at the American Legion Hut, which is right there at Ian Yoder. So I'm over here on 3rd Street, 3rd grade, put my little practice uniform on, get on my little bicycle, ride up 3rd Street, across the railroad track, go down 70, turn, go through all that area and get over there and practice football at 4:30 in the afternoon. And it was over with, get back on, ride back home, it's dark now. 3rd grade, I mean, we were, as I made a little note here, I said, we were Mayberry before Andy Griffith and TV decided that Mount Airy was Mayberry. You know, it was just a great place to grow up. Those coaches were so good to us, and just developed in me that want to be a part of something. And so then later on, I ended up getting to play for Mr. Archie Wilburn at junior high, and then of course, you ever say Eastern Alamance before Coach Kirby got there, it's Coach Brady, you know, and those are just great years. Later on, after graduating, I heard about some officiating class, and they were like, hey, you ought to go up and check that out. So I did, started, and you had to work 2 years, rec ball in middle school before you could even apply to the high school. Got through that. It's tough. You play all those years and you think you know the game, but you don't know the game. And you start learning, and you have some boo-boos, and Barney Rice is back there, and I had a big one at Orange High School in a little midget football game on a Saturday. I mean, we missed it, and I I couldn't even put my uniform on good, and I was wearing the white hat that day. I was the head guy, so to speak, and made a decision, and it cost him the ball game. And he didn't say a word. Got over there that Sunday afternoon, we was out to play the ball, and he's like, Mr. Rock's like, you sure about that? And I'm like, no, really not now. You know, I realized we had messed that up, but he was just such a gentleman about it. And it just clicked in my mind right then. I was like, I'll do everything I can to never let that happen again. I may miss it because I'm not being a good official physically, but rules-wise, I hope I'll never make another one of those kind of critical mistakes. And so I jumped in that pretty hard, try to be good in the rules. It was tough starting out, trying to get your own way. We had guys that were just such good mentors from all levels that supported you, and you'd ride your ball games with them. You get out in the car. We play just like y'all play golf coming back. We replay the whole ball game, and you talk about plays. Hey, did you feel good about that? Or what'd you see on that play? So those are things that you just think about coming back home and the next day to get to another game. Real quick timeline of once I finally got to the ACC of like what my week was like. Virtually every night, as Angie would tell you, we were watching some training tapes, either supplied by the ACC office or somebody off your crew. We were looking at last week's games for good and bad. We were looking at the opponents for next week's game so we could figure out, hey, who's the stud players and what are the crazy plays they're going to do and what kind of funny alignments are they going to do that's going to cause us some issues before the ball gets snapped. So it's a lot of that. Game days, we usually got to the stadium about 2.5 hours before, and each person had a duty that they were responsible for. Angie's position had the game clock. I had the play clock. Other guys had the chains. Referee has the TV guys. So you had to get with those sideline guys and the upstairs guys and talk to them. Just, make sure we're all on the same page. And you have to prepare again that mentally so you don't make one of those mistakes, at Clemson or Carolina or at anywhere. I thought sometimes it's like sitting around and talking to coaches and stuff, and I said, they'd ask them about what happens during the game, and I said, so it made me think about this, and I was like, hey, as we all sit there and watch, I just thought I'd throw out some things that I see that makes us think, what we see in the ball game, then you're sitting there thinking, like, what are they doing that for? Is that really meaning nothing? So the first one that we see so many times, if you watch the football game, the white hat, the guy in the offensive backfield, will, a lot of times, the side guys, the team that's got the ball, the offensive team, when they substitute, those guys will give what's called an iron cross. And the white hat echoes that back. That is to relay to the defensive team that the offense is subbed, and if you want to make a sub, you got 3 seconds to start that sub from the time they do that, so you can get a player in or switch some guys out. So it's just a game management type of thing. Then, after the white hat does that, he's also counting the offense, team with the ball. And you'll see him do a little thumb, you'll see him hold her hand out, whatever. Him and the umpire, the guy right behind the defensive line, are confirming. They look at each other. You're doing it eye to eye. You're not just doing it and looking somewhere else. I want to see that Angie sees 11 on his count of his guys, because we counted the defense. So you'll see those 2 guys confirm, and then the 3 deep guys, that we would do that. We would all confirm. get that done, and then, you know, the play's getting ready to start. And then you start thinking about what we call keys, or a key. We have an assignment, and it's based on what happens when the ball's getting ready to get snapped. And you're responsible for one guy or two guys, just depending on what position that you work. And the biggest thing that we learned from that over the years was, that guy's your key, you better lock down on him. You better trust your other 7 guys to take care of their business. You lock down on your guy, as long as something can happen to him, or he can do something to somebody else. And sometimes that took him all the way across the field, or just long time. You just have to really focus and just work that one play, work it one play at a time. Sometimes you start going through some of those things, and you're watching a game and you see a foul, or you're at a game and you see a foul, and you're sitting there and you're thinking like, man. So I thought of a couple of them that always seemed like they had votes and debate, whether you're sitting there with your buddies or somewhere else and watching. And I thought the first one that everybody likes to groan and moan about is holding. Because Kirby don't fuss about holding, I think. So, no. But it's, you know, now that I'm not on the field, I'm a great official. I'm sitting there in the chair watching hold. I'm like, that's hold. Or that's not a hold. But really the biggest factor when we're looking at holding, we're after officiating the ball game, is, you know, didn't have an effect on that play. The left tackle holds the guy just for a little bit, and the running back's running around the right side, and he's already 10 yards down the field. We're going to leave that alone. Our old boss was an FBI agent at one time, and he used to call all those fouls felonies and misdemeanors. Leave the misdemeanors alone. You better get the felonies. That's a misdemeanor. Happens on the side where the kid's running to, that's a felony. Let's go ahead and get that and make that work. So, you're working to take care of your business. You get through those things, and then the hold, once you call that hold, they fall into some categories. So post-game, and we get reviewed every game, post-game, they ask you like, hey, what'd he do? So you have to tell him. It was a takedown, like a WWF type thing, a takedown. A grab or restrict at the point where the ball carrier was running. Those kind of things, and you have to put that on a report that goes to the ACC office and to both coaches. So the whole crux of that was, you see something, you better be daggone sure what you saw is what you called. Because that video doesn't lie. And I've had a few of those that I wish the video lied. Because I would be like, holy moly. Just talked about one of those this week with one of my buddies. And but holding in the rule book is tiny print. The whole book's really tiny print. It's over 2 pages of the parameters of what involves holding. A lot to sift through. So you better be daggone sure when you're calling that you've checked all the boxes that you wanted to check. And the boss used to also say, you know, if they're sitting in the third deck at Keenan, somebody runs around, if that person sits up there, says, gosh, that looked like a holding. It probably was a holding, and somebody better have had that. So let's take care of our business. And it's an accountability thing. It's so all of us in here know that when you make that call, you're accountable for it. You're graded on it. Angie works side judge, which is deep down the field on the visiting team side most of the time. And then I work back judge, which is down the middle. And I will never forget one year when we had to change over into the boss's And you get an end of the year report. How many calls you had, how many calls you missed, how many calls you were correct, how many calls were marginal. Everybody, as soon as you get that report, man, everybody's calling, how'd you do? What'd you grade? How'd you do? So Angie and I are talking. He's like, how'd you do? I'm like, I did okay, but I said, he put me a note on there and said, you had the least amount of calls of any of the back judges. And I'm just a little bit concerned that you're like really not into the plays. Or you are you right there making those focus and getting your area of responsibility? And Andy was laughing. I could hear him laughing on the and he's like, hey, guess what he said on mine? I said, what is that? He said, hey, you did a good job, but you've got the least amount of fouls of any side judge that we've got. So that was the old thing of, not saying that we were anybody, but we were a little bit ahead of the felony and misdemeanor group that when we tried to make them, and we make them big, make them something that was worthwhile. Hopefully all this will help you out this fall when you're sitting there watching the ball game. I'm about to wind it down, but anyhow, some of these things, same things apply for pass interference. Again, that's one of those, everybody call pass interference on any play that you want to call if you're sitting there watching and involves your team. But again, those fall into categories. And like it's called early contact, which is what it is. Kid gets there before the ball gets there. There's something called an arm bar where the guys are running down the field and the guy's just holding the guy's beating him, the defender's holding his arm out, and this kid can't make his play on the ball because of that. So he's arm barring him, keeping him from getting there. It's so many of those are a little bit easier, and then you have those others that are bang bang, and you have to use that judgment, and you want to make that call like the baseball umpires do, just snap that thing down. But again, they used to say, let your brain process what your eyes just saw. So sometimes you'll see it, and the commentators will say, that's a late flag. It's a late flag because Doug Smith wanted to make sure that the ball was catchable and the defender affected that guy's ability to make a play on that ball. And you just want to, the whole thing is you just want to get the daggone thing right so your boss don't call you and say it's Sunday morning. So hoping that, if you watch some games this fall, you see some of those, you'll see those signals, that'll kick into you and you'll be like, well, I see what that is now. Boss used to always tell us too, was like, if you're where you're supposed to be, and you're looking at what you're supposed to be looking at, your success rate is going to be like 98, 99%. We'd like 100, yeah, but that's not going to happen. We all know that. But as anybody that's got some integrity, you're working on that field, you're working at every game, and you want to make that a goal when you step on that field when that clock's at 15 minutes in the first quarter. You want to make that goal is to have that perfect game. And though we'd like to work that, it's probably not going to happen, but the only way to ensure some long-term success and credibility is to go with that attitude each time. So again, I'm going to jump back real quick. Wayne Petty, and we've spoken about this, they were seniors. Stanfield, some of these guys, and we were underclassmen. And those guys took us in. They spoke to us between classes, coached us up when we were on JVs and they were on varsity. It made you feel like you were part of that group. And as a 14, 15-year-old, to have a player of that caliber speaking to you and speaking favorably to you, gave you some confidence and made you want to when you get to practice, Don't be out there messing around. Go ahead and get your job done and do what's right. And make that time worthwhile. So, again, thank you for all of those that also were inducted tonight. Congratulations, and wishing all of you a very healthy rest of 2026. And as we all say, mind our way, but we're doing Happy Father's Day too. So Happy Father's Day to all of you folks. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Doug. He probably won't remember this, but he taught me a really good lesson when I moved to Alamance County. We did a request for a proposal for some sporting goods equipment when I was in Graham. And I got it back from Doug, and it was some of the greatest prices I'd ever seen. I was like, man, this guy's awesome. I'm gonna buy everything from him. And I got the bill back, and there was this line called shipping. And it was about as much as I paid for the goods as was the shipping, and I had to explain that to the finance department. That was a tough one, but I learned a good lesson from him that day. All right, next up, I would like to bring Michael Gaskew up to the stage to honor Jeff Moblin.
Good evening. Hope everybody's doing well. So I see a lot of familiar faces here tonight that knew my dad, and my beautiful wife's here. One of my best friends, Robert's here. So it's a very special night for our family tonight. So and congratulations to all the inductees as well too. All right, so standing here tonight is truly one of the greatest honors. As Jeff Mollin's son, I had the privilege of knowing him not only as a coach, but simply as dad. And while so many people in this room, know him as a coach, know him as a mentor, know him as a friend, but I had the opportunity to know the man behind the whistle. Growing up, I learned pretty quickly that being Coach Modlin's son came with high expectations. There was no shortcuts. No special treatment, and definitely no free passes at all. At the time, I truly didn't understand the lessons he was teaching. But looking back at it now, it makes a lot of sense to me. He was not only making me try to be a better athlete, but really shaping me into the man I am today. So you all know for more than 3 decades, he poured his heart into coaching. And there was countless evenings on the ball field, football field, or at the gym. There was practices after long work days, weekends spent at tournaments, and then also, hours that most people never saw as well too. He never did it for recognition or the awards. He did it because he genuinely believed that coaching was about investing in the kids. To my dad, winning was very important, don't get me wrong, but it was never the most important thing. He wanted every player to leave his team knowing that hard work, what hard work looked like, how accountability looked, and how to respect others, and also how to handle success, in disappointing times and successful times, to show good character. Those lessons stayed with so many of these young people that he coached, long after they hung up the cleats and jerseys. One of the things that always amazes me is how often people stop me and they tell me stories about it. They'll say, your dad coached me, or your dad changed my life. And I still remember, or they're saying, I still remember what he told me 20 years ago. He made a lot of impact on a lot of folks. But as a son, there's nothing more meaningful than hearing those stories, because it really just confirms everything I already knew. His greatest legacy isn't the championships, that he won, but it's in the people that he shaped. The truth is my dad never stopped being a coach, even when he left the field. He brought those coaching, qualities at home. He led our family with the same discipline, consistency, encouragement, and high expectations that he gave every player that he coached. He showed us if you're going to do something, give it everything that you got. Show up. You keep your word. You treat people with respect, and you help others when need. And always, he would say, "Leave it better than you found it." My dad's always believed that community is strongest when people invest in one another. That's exactly what he did for Mebane. Generation after generation, he gave his time, his energy, his heart to the youth. And not because he had to, it's because he wanted to make a difference. Tonight, this Hall of Fame honor recognizes an outstanding coaching career. It recognizes championships, years of service, dedication to sports. But to me, it represents something even bigger. It recognizes a life that lived in service to others. Dad, thank you for showing all of us what leadership really looks like. Thank you for teaching us that success isn't measured by trophies, but by the lives that we touch. Thank you for being the kind of coach people never forget, the kind of leader every community hopes to have, and the kind of father every son hopes to become. Dad, congratulations on this incredible honor. Thank you for the example you've set, the lives you've changed, and the legacy you've built. I love you. I'm proud of you, and I'm honored to be your son.
Thanks, Michael. I'll never forget before I came to Mebane and we had tackle football games in Graham. Those 12U midget games were pretty brutal. Jeff had some unbelievable recreation football teams, and I know he assisted and helped out in many other ways in other teams. Next up, let's bring Chip Fushi to the stage to introduce Dean Ray.
I'm here to introduce Dean Ray. It's going to be tough because I'm kind of angry with him right now. Dean, only you would have me be here while the Tar Heels are playing in the College Baseball World Series. And Ed Hooks would be happy to know if he was still here. The Tar Heels lost. And Dean, I blame you. It is your fault. Despite that, I'm going to be nice, and I'm going to read this glowing introduction that you wrote for yourself. As Recreation and Parks Director for the City of Mebane for over 31 years, 35 total years in Recreation and Parks, Dean brought a strong background in recreation management, community programming, and event planning. Known for his strong belief in fair play and accessibility, Dean was a driving force behind efforts to ensure that all community members, regardless of age, ability, or background, could participate in meaningful and positive recreational experiences. Upon becoming director, in June of 1987, Dean expanded and developed new programs for both youth and adults. He was responsible for acquiring coaches, securing team sponsors, and proudly outfitting participants in a Mebane uniform. Youth football, Pee-wee, Mike, midget, participation was approximately 75 to 85 kids. The midget team had 8 SWAC, is that how you say that, right? Get it right? I thought that was right. State championships. Dean also originated youth football night at Eastern High School, youth basketball, boys and girls teams. In 1987, early on in Dean's career, there were 17 whole teams. By 2009, there were over 40. A lot of growth, a lot of evolution to give Dean credit for. Boys and girls baseball and softball. In 1987, there were 18 teams. By 2001, over 50 teams. Again, a lot of growth. Other athletic programs that Dean originated as director. Youth. You originated youth soccer.
Well, I tried.
I thought I did that.
I don't remember really.
You just introduced me 4 years ago saying that I did it.
And I forgot. I'm so sorry.
All right, I'm going to keep reading. Youth Soccer, 2002, Mebane Youth Soccer Association was originated. This was a unique partnership between the city of Mebane and area parents that longed for a hometown league. Over 1,600 kids are participating in Mebane Youth Soccer today. It's become one of the largest soccer associations in North Carolina, and the Mebane Rec Department has been proud to support and provide facilities for the league. Summer Youth Athletic Camps. As a strong advocate for local talent and youth membership, Dean developed summer camps to provide hands-on, skills-focused training for the Mebane youth. These camps have become a summer staple of the community. They inspire young athletes and connect them with their local coaches. Dean also brought in standout athletes from ACC colleges to serve as counselors for the basketball camps. This was an opportunity for the youth to interact and learn from their local college teams. Football, baseball, softball, and basketball. 1988, Dean was involved in all of those. Seriously, soccer camps?
I helped.
Hey, do you know what country the World Cup is being played in this year?
Wasn't it Scotland?
It's here.
Oh, it's here.
Yeah. Come on, Dean. Adult programs, Mebane co-ed volleyball, church league basketball, men's softball, pickleball, fitness classes, tournaments. Under Dean's leadership, Mebane launched or expanded a wide variety of youth and adult tournament events, including basketball, baseball, softball, and volleyball. This brought together hundreds of participants each season. A proud accomplishment during his tenure was the revival of the Mebane Youth Football Bowl, a cherished local tradition. This event was held each year at the Eastern High School football field. The bowl brought renewed excitement to youth football and gave young athletes the chance to play in a high-profile venue. Dean oversaw and organized the rentals of Mebane athletic facilities for a variety of sporting events, helping maximize use, build partnerships, and bring regional attention to the city's top-tier amenities. Probably one of the biggest things Dean oversaw was facilities. You're sitting in one of them right now. This happened not soon after I moved to Mebane, and I would venture to say half the city didn't want this. They thought it was foolish to spend it was probably $3 million back then. It would probably be 30 today. But it seemed like a foolish expenditure of money, yet here we are. We need another one. Maybe we need two more. The facilities that Dean oversaw the completion of were construction of concessions and bathrooms at Walker and Youth Fields. In '95, a major milestone in Mebane's recreational history was this. The Mebane Arts and Community Center and Athletic Complex opened. State-of-the-art facility that quickly became the center for community events, athletic programs, and cultural enrichment. Dean played a key role in managing, designing, and staffing the MAC, as we affectionately call it today. 2006, the Mebane Soccer Complex. Come on, Dean.
I built it myself.
I tell you what, in the spirit of the World Cup, we're all a little bit confused about what offsides is in soccer. Would you take a minute and explain that rule to us?
You know it when you see it.
I like that. That's a great answer for someone who absolutely doesn't know. 2008 and 9, the renovation of the original Mebane Recreation Center, formerly the Mebane High School Gym. The Mebane Train Room and the Mebane Museum were included in the renovation and continue to operate from this facility. 2014, Dean was instrumental in the renovation of the MAC, ensuring it will continue to meet the evolving needs of Mebane. 2018, Mebane Community Park. This park is a premier outdoor space featuring a walking track, multiple soccer lacrosse fields, the first artificial turf fields in Alamance County, concessions, restrooms, and a vibrant spray park that offers summer fun for families and children. Under Dean's leadership, the various facilities and projects and parks that he was instrumental in, I'm just a math here real quick in my head, with renovations and construction included, with over $17 million worth of properties that we appreciate and enjoy today. I've known and worked with Dean for a long time. I didn't need these, and I had black hair, as did you in the early 90s when we first met. We have seen our way through a lot of dogwood festivals, Christmas parades, Show Fest down in Charlotte, where we had to find bands for the Dogwood Festival. And yes, Mebane Youth Soccer Association. I do pick on you, Dean, but you did always have a unique ability to understand when to step in and when to get out of the way. And I've always appreciated that. We've enjoyed a mutual respect for each other for over 30 years, and with that, I'm honored to present Dean Ray.
Okay, here we go. It's a pop quiz night. History pop quiz. What was the very first event that we held here at the Mebane Arts Community Center in 1995 in this multi-purpose room, and it was an athletic event? Anybody real quick? It was a North Carolina State powerlifting meet. Yes, powerlifting meet. So here we are. We got 500 chairs on that floor. Up here we got bench press. We got deadlift behind us, and we have the squat rack right here. So you go by your weight, weighing yourself for a weight class. Guy came out, he's about 230 pounds. He wanted to break the state record in squats. So he comes out. They have 700 pounds on the bar. He gets under it. I mean, you know, everybody knows what a squat is. So he gets under it. He goes all the way down. I'm standing in the back of the room. He goes down and he's coming up strong. I say, man, we're going to see a new state record here. As soon as I said that, he stopped and he froze. And he knew he was going to go back down, and his knee buckled. And I said, oh, here we go. Rather than the spotters grab the weight, he decides to just throw the weight off his shoulders. So when he did that, it propelled him. He's hanging off the front of the stage. I thought for sure he'd be on the front row. From 5 feet off the ground, 700 pounds comes crashing down onto this stage floor. A sonic boom goes through this center. It hit every wall. It goes out the double door. It goes down the hall. It goes out the front door. I mean, it was loud. And I remember throwing my hands up and I said, oh Lord, we just broke the Mebane Arts Community Center. My second thought was, how was I going to tell the Mebane City Manager and the Mebane City Council that we broke the Mebane Arts Community Center in our very first event? I was terrified. But luckily, Angie, we left earth underneath this. It had to help. But no damage, a little bit of a tile issue, but that was fine. But no crack in the concrete, so we lucked out. Chip talked about my biographical information, and that's great. And I'd like to focus on family, friends, and mentors tonight. It is really great to look out and see people that you love and respect, and really people who put me up here. And it's just great to look out. I want to say congratulations to all the inductees tonight. You are all very worthy of this honor. Thanks to the Mebane City Council for 30 years of supporting the Mebane Sports Hall of Fame. Thanks to the Hall of Fame Committee and the Recreation and Parks Department for producing the Hall of Fame and the gala and having such a good meal tonight. You've heard the old saying, I think someone said it, the old saying of, I stood on the shoulders of giants. Well, I did. I stood on the shoulders of giants. Started out with my mom and dad, Joyce and David Ray, and my sister Joy, who will always be with me. Mentors in Parks and Rec, Dean Coleman, Susan Clark, all retired, Houston Sally retired, the late Cliff Riley, who all from the Alamance County Recreation Parks Department. If it wasn't for Cliff Riley, I would not be standing here tonight. Also retired, the late Bob Jones with the Orange County Recreation and Parks Department. Also, Wayne Weston retired from the Mecklenburg County Recreation and Parks Department. And all the staff that I worked with for 35 years, Chris Johnson's in the back of the room, he stayed with me 19 years, unbelievable. But we had a lot of good times, and everyone I worked with, part-time, full-time, they all brought something to the table, and I really appreciate that. Also, the late Nancy Fawcett with the Town of Hall River, and also retired Jimmy Joe with the city of Mebane, and Elaine Hicks, assistant city manager with the city of Mebane. All those guys and girls taught me the ins and outs of municipal government. Also, I'd like to kind of speak on Jeff Mebane tonight. You just heard how successful Jeff was. I mean, he was a successful coach all the way through. But something that I really want to impress on him, he was a mentor. He mentored his kids, the players. He mentored everyone. He loved them on and off the field. He talked to parents. He talked to the players. He knew what was going on in their lives. He wanted to know it. And he was so good at finding and identifying at-risk youth. And when he found those at-risk youth, he went to work. He worked on them. I had so many parents come up to me all those years back how Jeff mentored their sons. And it was unbelievable. I'd like to put it in a nutshell. Jeff had kids that really needed miracles in their lives. They needed someone who would push them forward, lift them up. And Jeff Mebane was a miracle. He was. Jeff's work in Mebane will never be forgotten. And talking about miracles, one of the best miracles in my life ever is sitting right there at that table. My wife, Lee. Lee, thanks for putting up with all the early mornings I was running out the door, all the late nights I was coming in the door from a ball field or a gymnasium in Mebane or somewhere across Alamance County. And of course, all the weekend work with the make-up games and the tournaments. I really appreciate you putting up with that. Lee, I mean, let's just put it where it's at. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. Second only to me going into the Mebane Sports Hall of Fame. You are the best. Just kidding. Lee is the Hall of Fame. Could be right. I mean, it's the Hall of Fame. No, you make everything better, and I love you. I think I skipped around here. In closing, I met a professor back in my early days through the North Carolina Recreation Park Association. His name was Harold Moses, and he was a professor at UNC Chapel Hill. He was head of the Department of Parks and Rec and Leisure Services. And in all of his talks to us as professionals, he would say this quote, and it always stuck with me. And he would say, let me say it, recreation and parks will be more important tomorrow than it is today. Very simple. I'll say it again. Recreation and parks will be more important tomorrow than it is today. Now, he was saying this 45 years ago. I think he knew something, don't you? I mean, look at Parks and Rec now, all across the country. I think he knew something. My quote would be, I thank God that I got the opportunity in my lifetime to help build a city through recreational parks and athletics. We had a good time, didn't we? Thank you for this opportunity.
Congrats, Dean. Personally, I just want to thank you for all of your support. You're a tough act to follow. Chip would definitely tell me that. But I loved how Dean ended that, saying that we had a good time, because some of my best memories of Dean are having a really good time. So thank you, Dean. Next, I want to welcome to the stage JT Kirby, who's going to present his dad, Coach John Kirby.
Let me start by saying I know they left the Kirby guys till the end, and we have a pretty bad reputation of talking too long. I promise we're not going to be here for another hour, so we will keep it short, sweet, and I will stick to the script. So let me start off. Good evening, everyone. My name is JT Kirby, and I have the great honor of introducing the next inductee of the 2026 Mebane Sports Hall of Fame. Before I begin, I want to personally congratulate and acknowledge all the honorees tonight. I've had the privilege of being personally impacted by many of the newest members as a kid growing up here in Mebane. And I can say, and many others, myself and many others are better people because of the effort and care that these folks gave to their community, and for that we're all thankful. I'd like to now start talking about a man who truly doesn't require an introduction, a man who has never met a stranger, and by my estimation tonight probably knows about 99% of this room. That man's my father, Coach John Kirby. John Kirby is someone that can be categorized as a true Mebanite. He was born April 10th, 1962 at the Mebane Medical Clinic in downtown, in the building that is now known as Martino's Bakery and Deli. So keep that in mind next time you go to get a bite to eat there. Keep that in your head. So, he's a 1980 graduate of Eastern Alamance High School, where he excelled in athletics both on the football and baseball fields. Upon graduating from East Carolina University, John got the opportunity to return home, where he took a job teaching back at his alma mater. At this time, he would also get to claim the word that accompanies his name today, Coach. A title that is more than words, but one of great responsibility and action that he would demonstrate for the next 40 years. Coach Kirby was involved early in his career as a head baseball and football coach at Woodlawn Middle School before transitioning to head wrestling coach and assistant football coach at Eastern High School. And I think he was told he was going to be the wrestling coach. If Miss Chalkley's out there, she probably knows he does not know a lot about wrestling, but he'll get you in shape. Let's see here. I lost my spot. In 1991, he became the interim head football coach for the remaining 2 games of the season before becoming the full-time head man in 1992. He would also serve as athletic director from 2011 until his retirement in 2024. From 1992 until present day, Coach Kirby and Eastern Alamance have amassed nearly 300 wins, 10 conference championships, 5 regional championship appearances with 2 wins, and 2 state runner-up championships, or titles. He's won countless Coach of the Year honors at the state and local level, served as an assistant coach on the 2006 Shrine Bowl with the Carolina staff, as well as head coach of the 2015 edition of the game. He also served as the head coach of the West team in the 2004 NC East-West All-Star Game. He's 3-0 all-time in his All-Star Game appearances. He's coached hundreds of young men who extended their playing careers at the collegiate level of Divisions 1, 2, and 3. He's amassed great respect and recognition among his peers in the state of North Carolina and beyond. All the things I have just mentioned are the typical things that qualify someone to be in a Hall of Fame. However, I believe that Coach Kirby's impact and induction tonight is for far more than what the school board has said at the end of a Friday night and what the record book presents. Coach Kirby has lived up to his title of coach. He served his community and made it a better place. He spent the majority of his life mowing and painting fields, giving rides to and from practice, providing meals for those kids who needed it, being a solid example and stability for generations of young athletes that later became grown men, mentoring young coaches and players, providing advice and comfort when it was needed most. I can say that my sister Lauren and I were lucky to grow up as coaches' kids. We may not have understood it fully then, but our dad was the dad for many more kids than just us. Due to this, we learned to share time. Our mom included, because we knew how important that title of coach truly is and continues to be for those who have it. It's something that has far more fame and impact than numbers in the win column or touchdowns on the scoreboard. It's the lessons and examples he and other coaches provide that stick around after the Friday night lights have turned off and guys have taken off their helmet for the last time. The lasting legacy of a coach comes from the guys that take the lessons and then continue to share the knowledge. That is happening to this day. Eastern Alamance and Mebane are changed for the better, and it's an honor to get to recognize that tonight. With all that being said, I'd like to present to you our coach, Mebane's coach, and my dad, Coach John Kirby.
Well, the crowd thinned out a little bit, didn't it? Hey, look, I just want to say this, and I'm going to try not to be long, but I do want to, sometimes when you go last, it's like, hey, everybody's ready to go. And I realize that because it's kind of about my bedtime, too. But, as I look around the room, I just want to thank everybody for being here tonight. And I know everybody has got up here and you've talked about the other recipients. And I'd like to talk a little bit about that, too. Dean Ray and I go back a long way. We started a whole lot of things together at Eastern Alamance, where it used to be a handshake, Aaron, and now it's a contract. And we just did a whole lot of stuff together, and I appreciate that. And Lee, I do remember some of the things he did beforehand, so we can probably talk about that later. And Mr. Caldwell, you know, you had that game this year when we got ready to play Northeast Guilford, and I told our guys, I said, we're good. I know that guy. A little bit later, they said, obviously he don't like you a whole lot, you know? And then I look around, and Doug Smith, he said a while ago that they did clinics and they watched film. There, it could have fooled me, Doug, I swear. You know? And then I look, and Mr. Petty, I don't know you, but I sure would like to get to know you because my golf game sucks. All right? I would love it. And, you know, as you continue to look around, Jeff Bodden's group is sitting here in the back. And Jeff Bodden is the best. And I know, Dean, you said it, and Michael, you said it the best. I mean, he rubbed a little dirt on it. Did you ever hear that? Rub a little dirt on it. Or, that's right, you know, that's right. And then he would say, turn the page. And I miss that guy. I miss him a lot. And I can't say enough about him. And Miss Chocolate, you know, what you did for us and what you've done for Eastern Alamance. A story about Miss Chocolate, she talked about tape and stuff. We're playing in a regional championship game. And we got a running back that's not doing well. And he said he's hurt. And she got some tape and put on him, and she said, this is Jesus tape. It will make you better. He rushed for like 200 yards after that. We won the game. Jesus tape, right? Yeah. And so, you know, but you just, the group that's here, the group that's going in, it's an honor to be with you, to be a part of you. And I can't say enough about that. So thank you to all you guys, because you have been a big part of my life as well. And, you know, as I look at the tables over here, I look back at the table behind us here. Miss Minch is here, her daughter Katie, and Juan Woodby here. Thanks for all your support through the years. Angela, you and your mom here, and Nacho, we're going to call him Nacho, for all that you do. My mother and father-in-law who are here, and I'm sure my father-in-law is fussing right now because it's past his bedtime, but the Mets are playing. But thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part. Thanks for the support. Can I make a joke about in-laws and outlaws? Have y'all know the difference between in-laws and outlaws? Outlaws are wanted. Right? Just playing. But look at the table that I'm at. You know, JT, my daughter Lauren, growing up at Eastern High School, it was great. They were able to come and be a part. And it's just watching them grow and be a part. And you're right, Mr. Caldwell, when you were talking about the 20% and 80%, because we spend a lot more time working with other people's kids than our own. But I think our kids and family, we adjusted well with it. And JT's wife, Amy, and they got a beautiful granddaughter, Elle. And my daughter just got married, which I was glad we didn't have to pay for a meal tonight because we just had a wedding not long ago, right? And so with that, and her husband, Parker, and, you know, my sister Donna's here, but the proudest would have been my mom and dad who aren't able to be here tonight. My dad passed away about a month ago. He would have been so proud to be here tonight just to watch and be a part and just, but you know, he is very happy right now where he's at, and he's probably with my mom, with Jeff, and they're looking down and watching and saying, you know what, that guy needs to hurry up and be quiet so all these people can go. But, you know, I'd like to say this, and Miss Simpson, thank you for coming tonight, and the Ballards, and I retired, like Mr. Caldwell retired. And then Ms. Simpson gave me an opportunity to come back, and I appreciate her for letting me do that. And as you look around this room tonight, oh boy, you know, this is Mebane. This is what Mebane's all about. But, you know, Billy Graham made a quote, and he said, a coach can impact more people in a year than the average person can in a lifetime. Well, I think that works another way too, because I think those kids impact our coach's life as well. And that's kind of the way I've been looked at. I've been blessed to have been around a whole bunch of great people and great athletes, and they all come back and they all reach out, and we ain't making a lot of money, but it sure does make your heart grow fond. And I just appreciate all the people that, if you're in this room and I had the opportunity to work with you, thank you, because it was truly my honor. And to be inducted into this organization, I remember when it started, and I'm thinking, man, one day I'd like to be in that. Here we are. So thank you so much for doing that. I didn't mention my wife's name, and you said, I told her, I said, I'm not going to get emotional when I talk about you up here, but I will say this, and I'm going to close with this. If you are a coach or a teacher, you got to have a great spouse at home. Because if you don't have a spouse at home that supports what you do, then you're in trouble. Dean said he got here early. 10 o'clock's not early to me, Dean. Mr. Caldwell, you said you knew Angie from patrol. I bet you did. Got it? I bet you did. But back to my wife, the things that she's done for me over the years is, I can't say enough. I'm going to tell you two stories. So back in 2004, our football team did not win a game. We did not win a game. We were pretty bad. But we played 10 sophomores and a freshman during that year. 10 sophomores and a freshman. Very young football team. Now, before the thing started tonight, Mr. Hooks said that we were married today. Today's my wife and I's anniversary. 34 years. But in 2004, our football team didn't win a game. We were struggling. We started off. And I came home one day, and she was packing the bags. Kids were crying. And I'm like, what are y'all doing? And my wife said, I'm leaving. I'm like, you're leaving? Why? She said, I saw your team play tonight, Kirby, and you're cheating on me. You haven't been practicing all those times. and so I'm like, okay, it's going to get better. Well, fast forward, 2009. 2009, we're going to play Havelock in the regional finals, win the game. We're going to go to the state championship game. My wife says, well, let me back up a minute before we get to that. Coach Job is sitting here right now. The Lord works in mysterious ways, right? Back in 1985, Tal Job calls me on the phone and says, hey, we'd like for you to come work at Eastern Alamance High School. Remember that? And I said, Coach Job, I'm interviewing in Greenville tomorrow. I wanted to be at East Carolina. I was a party guy, right? I'm going to be at East Carolina. And he said, well, you go interview and then come back. So I went and interviewed with a guy in Greenville. He says, I'll let you know something tomorrow. I go talk to Coach Job. I said, Mr. Kaysen, Mr. Job, Mr. Kaysen was the principal at the time. Can you give me till Friday? This was like on a Wednesday. Can you give me to Friday and I'll let you know what I want to do? Friday comes, I haven't heard from Greenville, I hadn't heard from anybody from East Carolina. Called Coach Job on a Monday, said I'd like to be an Eagle. Signed my contract. Monday night, I get a phone call from the people in Greenville and something had happened and they offered me a job. What would have happened if I'd have gone to East Carolina and not stayed here? Good Lord had a plan, right?
Caldwell would have locked you up.
He probably would. But anyway, Coach Job, thank you for being that mentor. Thank you, it means a lot. And again, I think the Lord put me in this place. But my wife's not leaving me in 2009. We're pretty daggone good. We're going to the state championship. She didn't get to go to the game that day because she had her wisdom teeth cut out. Remember that? And so we win. We go on. Michael Gaskin, you were on that team. And we go to Havelock and we win the game. And that might have been when the Jesus tape came out. And we go and we win. And we're excited. And I'm looking for somebody to hug, but my hugger is home with a swollen mouth, right? So I get home and I'm all excited and I said, dear, in your wildest dreams, could you believe we're going to the state championship game? And she said, Kirby, I'm going to tell you this. In my wildest dreams, you're no part of it. So anyway, there we are, right? So, guys, it's an honor. My wife, I love you. Hey, I beat you guys on this. Can I have my wife come up, please? Because you know what? Today is our anniversary. And you know, for a wife to put up with you and let you do what you enjoy doing for so long, and we've been together for 34 years. Dean Ray, you didn't buy flowers for your wife. You were just happy to thank you, because she really deserves the honor and not me. Thank you so much.
That might have been your best trick play ever, Coach.
I mean, another year, right?
All right, everyone. As we bring tonight's ceremony to a close, I want to thank each of you for being here to celebrate this remarkable night. To the families, friends, presenters, coaches, teammates, colleagues, and supporters here, thank you. Honors like these are never achieved alone, and your encouragement and support have helped make this evening possible. So on behalf of everyone involved, thank you again for attending. Congratulations to all of our honorees. Please get home safely and have a positively charming night.